you guys see my screen?
It says it's being live streamed.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All righty. All right, cool. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our weekly multifamily Zoom call. My name is Annabelle Pacheco. I am the host of this call, and Paul Kraus is also the co-host. We both are hosting this call on a weekly basis, and really the purpose of this call is to bring people together that are in the multifamily space or looking to invest, to pretty much share opportunities or just bring value to the call, things that might help others that are currently on the same journey. A little background on myself. I am a real estate broker. I've been in business for over 20 plus years, and started in the industry with a lot of the rehabs and flip. I did a lot of rehab flips and dabbled into the mortgage industry world, and did well back in the 90s, and then things dried up a bit and I didn't know what I wanted to do. And my husband and I had a great idea. We said, let's open up a restaurant. We knew nothing about it. And let me tell you, that was the hardest venture we've ever done in our life. But we learned a lot. I could say we really learned a lot, and it really made us strong. And I'm grateful for that. We did that for 8 years and sold it. And I've ever since just dedicated myself to real estate. That's what I know how to do. I love how to do it. And I've invested, and I'm currently investing. And I think this platform is just really to bring people together. I mean, our goal is to just grow this call. And so currently I invested in multifamily. I have invested. I've done the full circle of multifamily, and I can share that I love it. It's something that I definitely am looking to grow my portfolio, and just share it and bring others along with it, because I think that it's an awesome business. And so, just that right now about myself. And Paul, go ahead and share a little bit about what you were doing and who you are.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So Paul Kraus got actually invested originally back in 2006 in single family. And I did single family for a while, got licensed as a realtor. Then eventually I worked with a hedge fund that Blackstone company owned, and really did that nearly 5 years, blew up the whole single family world, got done with that once the company went public in 2018, went off on my own, and decided that after I had become a licensed general contractor as well as realtor, that I really wanted to start focusing on multifamily. And Annabelle, I joined your call, I think it was around 2020 or so, once COVID started, and started investing initially out of state in multifamily. And then from there, got into Illinois, went into Arizona. I was already in California at the time, and have been very involved with lots of different properties, lots of different sizes, anywhere from 8-unit properties up to 20 plus units. I want to share my screen real quick, if you don't mind, because I want to show a property that I just flew back and I've been working on. It's a 20-unit building and a 24-unit building, so it's a total of 44 units. So this is essentially what our finished product looks like. This building here in Arizona that we took this deal down in July was all studios, and this is essentially what the finished product looks like when we got finished. So as you see here, we went with nice light colors. Believe it or not, this is a gray, but we use such a light color. I think that one's called Dunn Edwards Precious Pearls. So we really try to bring a lot of natural light into these rooms so that people can control, how much they get to be exposed to, and because the windows are very big in these units here. So this is just a quick showing here of what our living room and kitchen would look like, and then our bathroom, which is this one right here. Let's see.
That looks great, Paul.
Oh, thanks. So then let's see if I can stop. Okay, I gotta stop sharing that one. I want to share my bathroom. I'm trying to show my bathroom. Okay, so here's my bathroom. If you don't like the tile, glaze it. And that's exactly what we did. And nice, beautiful white, right? I mean, who doesn't like white? Now you can put in whatever shower curtain you want. But we did all new fixtures. And then opposite, let's see if we can share the third one, which is, and so this is what the average studio looks like. And we like to do new lighting elements and get new vanities and new faucets and soft closed toilet seats so you can minimize noise in the apartment, so you don't have toilet seats banging around and things like that. And it's these just little details, nice bright LED lighting. It doesn't cost too much to do all this. And actually, as I think about it right now, I think we're only spending somewhere around a couple $1,000s per unit to make them look like this. The paint.
One or a two bedroom.
It's a studio.
Oh wow!
This is it.
Okay.
And there's 44 of them.
Wow.
And it's kind of like you just kind of go along the wall and you say, okay, what am I going to change? So you change the handles, you paint these up, you make sure that the refrigerators and the stoves are all working. You put in a brand new faucet in the kitchen so that you can pull them out and they act like a hose. So instead of using the old style, where you kind of have a little spray gun, it's all in one unit. And for $125, it's a no-brainer. But what I like to do, in addition to that, is some of the work that kind of goes on underneath, which would be like right here and right here is, we have angle stops and new water supply lines, and we do all that at the same time so that way if we do have leaks and things like that kind of come up later on, that we don't have to shut the water to the building down. But new fire extinguishers and combo carbon monoxide and smoke detectors, new luxury vinyl flooring, which is all of this right here. That's a lot of fun because it goes down really fast and it looks good.
Yeah.
In addition to that, what I like to do is also spend some time, not too much, but a little bit of time on the electrical. So all the outlets I like to change out. And the reason why is because when you change out the outlets, you can get a good feel, you can get a handle on what the electrical is like in the building. Because when you start looking at how the attachments are, it's going to give you a gauge of if the people that were hooking this up a long time ago or maybe doing repairs ongoing, if they knew what they were doing or if they were just kind of trying to figure things out. And what I found is that in some cases, some of the units, there was really good electrical. In other places, we found things like bubbling wires and burnt out wires. So they obviously had a different sense of talent over the years of holding this asset. So I like to go in and do the electrical. It's completely worth it. And it's not just for safety, but also it's so that the tenant, when they do go in there, they have good working electricity for modern appliances, for modern equipment that they're going to hook up. Because gosh knows that there's a lot of electrical stuff going on these days. We plan for anywhere from 2 to 3 devices, wireless devices per tenant these days, and that's something else I was doing as well. It's not in the picture, but I was hooking up the Wi-Fi system, which is going to run throughout this as well. So we basically had a building that was turning around 7 megabytes of download speed, which is incredibly slow. And by the time I left, we had anywhere from 180 to 300. So went and dramatically improved the speeds so that now we can also do streaming. The tenants can do streaming as well as do any host of things that you can do with your own internet service, but it's all on Wi-Fi. There's no cords, there's no cables. So,
Is this an all bills paid property? Or
what does that mean? I've never heard of that expression.
where you, as the owner, pay for the bills? I mean, like utility, electric, or are they individually?
No, yeah, it's a good question. Electrical is completely covered by the tenant, and there's no gas in this building, so there is no gas. Everything's electrical. Hot water heaters are actually electrical as well, and the water, trash, and sewer is paid by the landlord.
So all bills paid. Okay. And what about AC? Is there an AC?
There is. I didn't take a picture of the AC, but these type studios have wall units. Wall units look just like window units, except that they are in the wall and they do not disrupt the windows on any level. So,
Very good.
yeah. Yeah, and you know what we do is we do the $500 models. When they go, we buy a brand new one. It is not worth trying to repair them. The parts alone are probably worth, it would cost you more to buy the parts for than just to buy a brand new unit. And they're easy to drop in, plug in, and within 90 minutes you have a brand new AC unit that's gonna make this thing so cold that within 30 minutes you're gonna grab a sweater. So.
Great. And where is this property located?
This is Tucson.
Tucson. Is it near the university?
This one is.
Okay. Very nice.
Yeah.
So I know Paul likes to buy multifamily near university for school housing, correct?
I do, and it's not just that. It's also that if you go to a large university, you'll actually find in some cases that some of the people that are tenants, quite a few of the people that are tenants, they work at the university. I mean, some of these universities have 30,000 or 35,000 students. Well, the staff and the amount of people that work in these are large employers, so you can have a 20,000 person staff that college, because you're not just hiring teachers, as you're well aware. I mean, you have people who they manage the dormitories, they manage the accounting, they manage the finance, they manage recruitment, they manage the sports teams. There's such a laundry list that these are major employers.
Yeah.
So that's what I love about them, and quite a few people actually work right at the campus.
That's awesome. Very good. So that's a good, I don't know if you guys really heard what he said, but buying housing near schools, universities, it's definitely something worth looking at. So, all right, cool. Thank you. Any market updates, Paul, that you could share with our group?
The biggest update that's happening right now is obviously that the interest rates, we're under pressure again. When I was out of town last week, and slightly moving higher again. The tough thing right now with multifamily, which is why it really makes sense to either partner with someone who's done multifamily investing, or maybe even invest with groups like myself and yourself, Annabelle, is because what's happening is the lending is getting a little bit more challenging. The debt to income ratio that used to be kind of like a universal 1.2 has now been increased to 1.3. So the lenders are looking for a higher debt to, or I should say a more stringent debt to income ratio of 1.3 times. And then the second thing that's going on, which everybody's feeling nationwide, like our speaker talked about last week in Alabama, insurance is changing in this environment very quickly. Many players that used to be underwriting risk are no longer taking on new risk, which means building like ours, 8 unit, 12 unit, 20 unit, 24 unit, 50 unit, whatever it may be. The insurance companies are saying no more risk. We're not taking on any more buildings. What that's doing is that's putting a lot of pressure on investors like ourselves to find carriers somewhere in the United States that can insure that building. And many carriers like Nationwide are not taking any more risk. People that used to be very dependable, State Auto, they are leaving the market in certain states. They not only don't even want any more insurance, but they want to leave the market altogether. So they are not renewing policies. So it's really important to work with people who are very active right now in multifamily and not just deep dive and jump in, because some of the challenges that are taking place are making it hard to close on deals because of some of these changes.
Makes sense. Makes sense. All right, cool. Very good. Thanks, Paul. I wanted
Absolutely.
to take this opportunity to introduce Ed Berlinski. And Paul, maybe you should also introduce Ed, because I think you know him better than I do. And I know Ed, I've met Ed, and I know he is a brilliant man, very smart. And will be talking to us, I think, today about financing, and I think that a lot of time we don't really pay attention to financing as being really the core and the most important thing for us. Yes, it's important to find the property and find the deal, but if we don't have the proper financing, that deal doesn't happen and it just won't even make sense. So Paul, yeah, why don't you talk a little about Ed, and let's introduce Ed and let him share with us today.
Yeah, absolutely. It's my pleasure to. Ed Berlinski, thanks for joining us today on the call. And I want to just share real quick a short story. I met Ed actually at a networking event, a luncheon, some years ago. And I remember sitting across from him telling me a little bit about what he did. And he said, Ed has a very he has a very humble tone about him, but he is a monster player in the world of hard money lending. And when he told me that he was a hard money lender for fix and flip type investors, I said, "Oh, I do that." and then Ed went and shared with me some of his history and his experience. And as it turned out, Ed was a lot more than just a hard money lender. He's actually a very seasoned commercial investor, as well as exchanger, as well as lender. And we probably could do a 3-part limited series on Netflix with Ed, with the kind of experience he has with his investing and his lending experience. But Ed, I appreciate you joining today. Our call, because you blessing our presence and sharing some of your experience is going to help some of the people who are going to watch this video in the future. And if I could just take a minute and just say, not only thanks for jumping on, but also could you share with us something a little bit about yourself as well, the same way you did with me years ago when you and I first met at an investor luncheon. Now what you're doing these days with commercial investing and lending, and also just, how did you get started?
Yeah, sure. I'd be glad to. Ed Berlinski, I'm an East Coast guy, grew up in Connecticut, went to school in Philadelphia, bounced around various corporate financial positions in Pittsburgh, in New York City, and finally in Rochester, New York, and basically on the treasury side, raising money, financing businesses, and so forth, both large and small. Back in, I guess it was 1992, I was coming out of a startup that I was involved in, and cashed out of it, and for the first time in my life had a little bit of a nest egg that I could do something with. And so I sat down with my lovely wife, said, Alice, I've been buying real estate books for 25 years, how to manage, how to finance, how to run, how to operate. And I said, I really, at this particular juncture, and both of our children were just basically graduating from college. So that huge expenditure was sort of disappearing. And I said, I want to try this real estate thing. And I knew it wouldn't be something like the residential side, but the commercial side, which is really based on my MBA in finance from the Wharton School that I got several years before. So I just
Ed, you're so humble.
well,
You are a Wharton graduate school alumni.
well, yes. And so I jumped in over my head, of course, and was thrashing around as if I didn't know how to swim in that pool. And I just decided I would go to as many meetings related to commercial real estate as I possibly could. And so I did that, kept going to meetings and kept going to meetings. And again, eventually, I guess just built a network of people, of friends that, and I don't see pictures on my screen, so I don't know if someone has left me. If they can confirm maybe that they're on. Are you with me?
Oh, we're on.
Yeah, we're all here, Ed. We can see you.
We can see
Okay,
you.
great. And so again, I did my little bit of commercial, what should I say, listing of properties and so forth, but it became obvious that my real strength was in financing. And so again, the head of the uh, group that I was involved with at the time said, Ed, we're doing a subdivision and we've got a house that we're basically putting up as a model. And would you consider financing that possibly? And so I said, sure. I didn't know what it was about, how to do it. Then took on the financing and basically had read a few books on IRAs, and so I created a self-directed IRA, and I financed the asset through that IRA. And so I guess the word started to spread that I did what I did, and started to get telephone calls about other people in the Rochester area, and slowly and gradually the bill, what should I say? It grew to something larger than it was at the beginning. By no means a mega financial entity, but nonetheless one where I stayed within my bounds. I stayed on a narrow path. I didn't take on all kinds of unusual risks. I just said to myself that this track, which was the fix and flip track, was really the safest one for me in terms of a risk profile, because the asset was going to be financed for 6 months or so, maybe 7, maybe 8 or 9, but certainly no longer than a year. During that time, neighborhoods are not going to change. They're not going to deteriorate. They're not going to fall apart. And once again, with the security being the house itself, I basically, what should I say, continued on that track until someone introduced me to a extraordinary group called the Society of Exchange Counselors. And I was giving a presentation in New York State. Someone said, Ed, I think you'd enjoy this group. And so I attended a meeting of the group. It's a sort of an elite group of about 100 people in the United States that are involved in extremely creative real estate, commercial real estate. And, I must say it was like drinking from a fire hose. There was just so much going on in the room that I just simply was not aware of. And through that group, I, formed bonds, if you will, with people that I did deals with over the years. And then I transferred, if you will, into a group that meets in Las Vegas 4 times a year that Paul's very familiar with, called the National Council of Exchangers. And that group similarly basically does a lot of creative real estate partnering and financing and other commercial related projects. And so through that group primarily, now I've been a very strong member of it, was for a moment on the board of directors, very briefly. And again, it's I dragged Paul into that group 4 or 5 years ago. I said, Paul, with your background, with your skill set, with your, what should I say, energy, with all of the tools that you have in your toolbox, got to be attending these meetings. And so after
You dragged me happily.
after whipping him into shape, he basically decided to come, and I think it's been extremely beneficial for him. I'll let him speak to that, but be that as it may, that's the vehicle that I'm currently using to, to tap into for loans, because they're loans with people that I've known for, in many cases, decades, and they're deals which are what I would call vanilla ice cream deals. They're very uncomplicated, and they're done through Roth IRAs in all cases, and therefore the returns that I generate are after-tax returns. And needless to say, at 12 or 14% return on the after-tax, compounding that after a few years, it grows. And I'm at that
Ed, can I
point.
ask you a question? Because you just covered a huge amount of information, and I know that people would love to let you talk literally for the next couple hours. But I want to see if there's any questions first from the group, and then let you continue on, because there's a lot that you can definitely talk about as an investor, as an exchanger, and as a lender. Are there any questions from anybody so far for Ed?
Okay, well, I have a question. So
Okay.
Ed, what would you say to someone who's looking to invest for the first time, right? They're going to go out and they're going to, whether it's residential or multifamily or even 2 to 4 units, what would you say to someone who's looking to do that and is maybe looking to reach out to a hard money lender?
I would say this, and I've been asked that question many, many, many times, because there are so many people out there who have a strong desire to get into this profession and simply don't know where or how to start. And again, one of the very first questions I think that those investors always wrestle with is, should I get a license, a real estate license, or should I not get a real estate license? And without expending a lot of time here today, there are pros and cons of each. But one of the most important advantages of having a license is that it allows you to open the door to various groups that only accept attendees that are licensed, including the National Council of Exchangers. And I'm, by the way, not here giving an ad for them, but I think that in terms of someone who's starting, one of the unique things about that particular group is that, unlike the first group I mentioned, which is the Society of Exchange Counselors, it is expected when you walk through the door that you've had many, many years of experience, many transactions under your belt, and you are a sophisticated broker and a sophisticated investor. Whereas at the National Council of Exchange meetings, that, as I mentioned, are held 4 times a year in Las Vegas, they will accept and welcome people in the total spectrum of real estate investing, commercial real estate investing, from people who in many cases are converting over from residential brokers, and they want to know, gee, I'm finding these deals for flippers, and I'm making what should I say, a referral fee or a front end fee from them, and they're making 100 grand or 150 grand or 200 grand. And I'm saying to myself, why should I not participate in that? Because as we all know, the most important element of a transaction like that, a fix and flip transaction, is basically finding the deal.
Right.
Find the deal. You can finance a deal. You can get a person to basically knock down walls and put up cabinets and all of those things, but finding the deal is paramount. And so this particular group is a group that not only welcomes those people at, shall we say, the bottom rung or the bottom two rungs of this, who maybe have done one transaction and still don't know what they're doing. And the people at this meeting who are senior people, who in many cases are members also of that other group that I referred to, are so willing to help people who are just starting, and to put their arms around their shoulder and say, listen, let me take you into this room here, which is a side room, and explain to you how to do this transaction that you're telling me you don't understand. And so there's a wealth of education. Also, people who want to start this business, some just have a big checkbook and they don't know how to do anything operationally. Other people very much, like Paul himself, have done hundreds of transactions for big companies that are doing fix and flips corporately, and just say to themselves, oh my gosh, I know I could find these deals, but I just need a financial partner. And all of these elements or components of real estate investing are in this room with this group. And I have seen people just absolutely accelerate, who have begun to attend these meetings, and suddenly their business is absolutely taken off. So I would say, in answer to your question, that you have to hook up with a group whose membership can help you in the manner that I just talked about, and who are hungry to help you. And I know, and even in my lending side, I've learned so much, and I have partners that basically I can partner with if I am aware of a loan that's much bigger than I myself can handle. I know 2 or 3 other brokers who I've known for many, many years, who are extremely ethical, who can join me. And as I say, the first thing I would say if you want to start is go to the right meetings. 90% of the meetings out there are not the kind of meetings that are going to accelerate your career. They're a cup of coffee and a donut, and some speaker from the Chamber of Commerce who wants to give you details on that county's, I don't know what, data, and those type of things are going to waste your time. So find the right group, go to those meetings, attend them, participate, throw yourself out. Don't be reluctant to get up to the dais and present something that you feel is an opportunity. It takes courage. It takes a lot of courage to do that. But those who can blast through that bubble, and I would say this, we've got Paul Krause here today, and Paul is thriving doing what he's doing. And again, you can do the same thing. You can partner with someone who does not have the kind of experience that you have, and thrive and thrive. And I think in terms of financing, finding financing at these meetings, there are numerous people who finance various kinds of assets for various kinds of purposes. And by forming relationships with these people over, it doesn't happen immediately, over a year, over 2 years. You have 3, 4, 6, 8 financial entities or agents that you can go to, depending upon what you want to finance, that can help you, that know you, that have begun to trust you, and therefore make it so much simpler when you have a deal rather than working to have that deal and walk into a strange banker and say, I need $1.5 million to finance this thing. They don't know you, and so forth and so on. So as you know, Annabelle, relationships.
And I have to agree with you. I have also attended the events at in Vegas, the NCE events. Paul invited me to that, and honestly, it's another world out there. This group is very different. Like you said, Ed, there's a lot of groups out there that claim, to teach you about multifamily or investing just in general. They offer you the breakfast and all that stuff, but this is a very different group. It's like the real deal. People at this group are actually, they're putting deals together. They know each other, right? There's this relationship that they've created. And I think, like, if anything you get from today's call, this industry and just this business we're in, it's all about relationship. You connect with people, not one time, because if you connect one time, that's just not enough. You've got to connect, you've got to be there, you've got to attend, you have to be a part of what this, whatever group it is that you're attending, you've got to be there and you've got to build on that relationship. And like Ed, I'm sure that, I can pick up the phone, call Ed, he knows who I am, I'm not saying I'm going to get a special deal, but hey, the fact that I know Ed, that already kind of breaks down, one barrier. We know each other. He knows that I am a professional in this business. That kind of breaks down another barrier, right? And then obviously the deal has to make sense. He's a professional person, and it's not like you're going to get a special deal other than, hey, you've already kind of maybe broken down a couple barriers to get you to talk to someone who's dealing with financing here, right? That could offer you that assistance. And maybe, like he said, maybe he can't do it on his own, or he's not willing to do it on his own, but there's other people that he can bring into the deal to make it happen.
I think also there's one other thing that many people don't speak about enough, and that is, in particular, if you are at the beginning of that trajectory and you are at the beginning of building that net worth that you want to, increase, that a lender who you have a strong relationship with can act as a person that basically can convince you not to do this deal. I can't tell you the number of people that have called me who, quite frankly, are very, very capable, but they haven't done 24 transactions. They've maybe done 2 or 3 or 4, and they start to explain to me why they need the funds and how they're going to put them to use and what the numbers are going to be. And again, I feel the biggest service that I can give them over and above lending them the money is to tell them from time to time that this doesn't make any sense, that it's too thin, that it's too risky for any number of reasons. So again, that strong relationship can be so valuable in not how many people have you heard, for instance, Annabelle, that have said, well, gee, I've been investing in the stock market or any market, and boy, I'd be worth 10 million if I just didn't do these 2 deals 5 years ago I thought were going to be grand slam home runs, and they turned out to be dead. Sometimes avoiding one or two or three transactions in your lifetime can change your whole, lifetime return.
I agree. I agree. I mean, I know I can speak for myself. I mean, I've been in business for many years, and I've done deals where I've done very well, and then I've done deals where I didn't make any money, right? Because for whatever reasons, and I wish I would have had someone tell me, hey, that's too thin and it's too risky, right? But I did it anyway. And anyway, I've learned, and so, you change your strategies as time goes on, and as you become a little bit more, like just more experienced at it. But I think that it's very, it's great to hear, Ed, that you are that lender that would take the time to help that person that comes to you, on supposedly a great deal. After you underwrite it and you look at it, you're able to say to them, it's a very risky deal and it's very thin. Maybe that's not the deal that you should be focusing on.
Well,
I think that's a great thing.
That comes to mind is that when you pair this with the knowledge of 1031 exchanging, you really begin to add value to a client, because it's one thing, of course, to just be generating profits after profits. It's another thing to retain those profits. And therefore, at least a fundamental knowledge of 1031, which virtually all of these attendees do have in one level or another, is a critical element in lifetime returns.
So we have a question, Ed. Nisha's saying that she's interested in multifamily, Arizona, Atlanta, and California. However, she says, love to know what groups and meetings out there who are legitimate and ethical in wanting to help and do deals together. Could you tell us some good groups and that are to look, some good groups to look into? Paul, you want to put in the chat the NCE info?
Yeah, I would love to, because one of the organizations that I would recommend to Nisha is NCE. Ed introduced and invited me to come to a meeting way back in 2017. So glad I did. I then, joined the group after that, and I invited you, Annabelle. So I'm going to put the NCE group in for sure.
That'd be great. And Nisha, that's definitely a great group to attend, and I believe their meeting is coming up in October, correct?
Yes, October 16th to 19th.
There you go.
Thing I might mention, which could be important to people listening to your program, is that if you go to the National Council of Exchangers website, they have a page that basically lists all of their outlying groups, the groups across the country that follow the same principles and the same things and way of investing as they do. And they have entities in Arizona. They have one down here south of Los Angeles. They have them in Colorado. They have them all over the place. And so if you live in a different part of the country, you can attend those as preliminaries in some cases to going to the big meeting, so that you'll be familiar with the way they do business.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks. Did you say that the website was going to be put into the chat, or?
Yeah. Paul will put that on in the chat.
Yeah, I'm just getting that for you right now.
Where are you? What area are you in, Nisha?
I'm both in LA and in Phoenix, and
Well, there's
kind
there's
of
a-
working in the middle of work, so I can, but I can take a break in just 3 minutes. So it's, yeah, sorry, I can't participate fully, but I've already kind of invested in a couple of syndications as a limited partner with the fund group that I know through colleagues, but I so I was curious, I do see so much now on the internet in terms of so many groups advertising for multi-family investments, and so it's very hard to just tease out what's legitimate and what's kind of almost a marketing scheme to be able to get.
Well, this here, I will tell you, this is pretty we're pretty raw and real. This is, what's been shared today is just like stuff that we're currently working on. Everybody's currently working on. And this group that Ed is a part of, and that we've also attended the event. It's a fantastic, and it's a great group of people, experienced like you wouldn't even believe, know how to put deals together, and know how to put deals together the unconventional way as well. Right?
Absolutely.
You actually said it perfectly. Yeah.
I mean, it's a fantastic group to definitely plug in, and you're going to just have to talk and meet. And, we don't always get along with everyone that we meet, but there's going to be certain people that are attracted to you and you're attracted to them, and you form bonds and relationship with them. And again, at the end of the day, this is all about relationship. And I'll tell you guys, I think I got an email from Dale, who's on this call today. And, I reached out because I wasn't sure if he wanted to be a guest or he just wanted information. So I just connected, we talked, and, and he shared to me, he's been, he works, or he's worked with individuals that have invested in multifamily, and he's done very well for them. And I said, well, come to our weekly call. You will meet people here that you might make relationships with, and you just never know. You never know. And I hope, Dale, that this call has been, you've found it valuable, and at least you now have 2, 3, 4, 5 people here on this call that you can connect with.
Yes, I think it's been great. I'm really interested in talking more about, as we talked, Southern California property. And you're right. The hardest thing, the most important thing is being able to find the project. It's really tough. And that's where I want to get with some guys, some gals in this Southern California and set up a plan and locate, because the money will be there.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, good.
I may mention one thing. There is a group that you can access called the Orange Coast Exchangers. The Orange Coast Exchangers. And basically, they meet at a town, I believe something tells me it's near San Clemente, I'm not sure, but they meet on the first Friday of every month. And basically, they follow the very same guidelines as the national group. They happen to be one of the oldest exchange groups in the entire United States, and they are wildly creative. So if you live in the Los Angeles area, they're about depending upon where in LA, they're probably an hour.
Yeah, hour and a half.
Yeah,
It's an hour and a half.
exchangers.
Yeah. Okay, great.
I'll put it on the.
I just want to add to that from what Ed was saying. So Orange Coast is next meeting on September 8th. So mark your calendars now. It's going to be on September 8th. They had to change the date just a little bit this time because of the holiday. So if anyone wants to get more information about that, just let you know, Ed was correct. It's in San Clemente. It's going to be at 9 a.m. And I'm going to go ahead and just include the information of who you need to get in touch with to register. It's normally held at a brokerage office down in San Clemente, and post-COVID now they're meeting in person. So that's actually a meeting I go to as well. The regional meetings are very active. There's one, like Ed said, in San Clemente, California. There's a very active group also in Tucson that they meet twice a month. There's another group in New Mexico that also meets. So I just want to make sure you guys are aware that The National Council is a great group if you want to find opportunities nationwide, but there are regionals that are very active and they're meeting every month, and sometimes they're even meeting more active than once a month. So
That's awesome. And I think I put some dates there as well and some info for you guys. I don't know, Dale, you said you're here in California?
I am.
Okay, what part of LA are you in?
Palos Verdes Estates.
Oh, okay, so I host, in addition, and this is really, it's not multifamily geared, but it's just real estate agent geared. I host a group. It's called Agents Helping Agents. It's an event that I do the first Friday of the month. So it's gonna probably coincide with the Orange, what is it? Orange Coast.
Orange Coast.
Yeah, but again, it's for, you know, it's just for kind of networking, to getting to know people that are in this area. And again, if it's, I'm going to put the link here if you'd like to come by, and you know what, we can meet. Again, build on the relationship. The invitation's extended to all on this call. Whoever wants to come, please, you know, feel free to register. I did put the link there on the chat. And again, you know, my goal really for this call is to grow it, bring in people that are in the multifamily world or just the real estate investing world to share and just bring information. And if, hey, we can move, you know what, if we can move a step forward in that day, well, then, you know what, I accomplished what I needed to do. And I hope that you guys feel like it was worthwhile. And again, it's just building and growing and getting better. That's really my goal here for this call. So I know we're coming to an end. Any last minute questions? Anyone have any additional stuff that maybe we didn't touch on that you're curious or you've got a burning desire to have an answer before we go?
I'd just like to thank you for allowing me to participate. It's been absolute pleasure, and I really, really am appreciative.
Yeah, Annabelle, I didn't get that link. Can you send it to me?
Yeah, I put it on the chat. It's on the chat.
So if I just click chat, I'll see it.
You'll see everything, all the conversations and everything we've posted. Yeah.
Now, when we're done, will I still be able to click that and see it?
I don't think so. No.
No, because once the Zoom call ends, that chat's going to disappear. So what you should do, I would recommend right now is click on the chat button, and on the right side of your screen, the chat box, the dialog box should open up.
It
So
did.
you should be able to see everything that everybody has contributed into the chat.
Okay.
Yeah. So I will.
But this last one was agents.
It's
Helping
agents helping agents. Yeah. If you just Google agents helping agents, Diamond Bar, it's in Diamond Bar Holiday Inn.
Okay.
And Diamond Bar Holiday Inn, we're there this Friday, starts at 9 a.m. And I bring in, you know, real estate professionals that are going to share what they're doing. I have an Airbnb super host agent. She's, you know, she's doing real estate and also investing herself and just doing a lot of stuff. So it's definitely, if you guys are in the area, and if you're not in the area and you're willing to drive a little bit, I think you guys will find this to be a really cool event.
All right, well, I'm going to check out for that. The Orange Post Exchangers also and see what I want to do.
Fantastic.
Orange
Fantastic.
Coast. Yep.
Coast.
Yep.
Yeah, it's Orange Coast Exchangers.
Orange
Fantastic.
Coast.
All right.
Orange Coast?
Orange
Where does
Coast.
the,
Yeah.
That's what I
Orange.
thought, but okay.
can I ask where the Diamond Bar, what location is that?
Yeah, it's the Holiday Inn in Diamond Bar.
In LA, or where are you at?
The city. Yeah, we're in LA. It's the city of Diamond Bar. Let me see if I can. So if you click on the link, let's see here. Someone on the, Bill Gross posted it on the chat, and I did too. If you click on that link, Nisha, it'll take you straight to it, and you can register, and then you'll get notifications. You'll get a confirmation.
Okay. Do you have to be an agent to attend, or?
And
Yeah.
no, you don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
You've got a personal invitation from me. You're good. So when we market it, yes, it's really for real estate agents, but those that are attending my multifamily call, I think and that we're locally, it's a great opportunity to meet in person.
Okay,
All right.
good. Thank you.
All right. Fantastic. Well, thank you guys so much for joining.
Thanks,
Ed,
Annabelle. Thanks, Ed.
yeah, Ed, thank you so much for taking the time to just, share some good knowledge.
Have a good day.
All righty. See you guys. Take care.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Bye-bye.